for our family, it's service over self. We will not sit by and watch our country be hijacked by far left radicals who are destroying us from the inside. That, we will not sit by and watch status quo prevail when we know we can stand up and continue our service and do something good for the future of our children.
Populism is not a threat to democracy, but rather is democracy itself. That is Winston Marshall at a recent debate in Great Britain. It was at the Oxford Union, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant, and he just obliterated Nancy Pelosi, which was hilarious because I was like, who is he debating? And Nancy Pelosi gave this whole speech there, basically saying that populism was a threat to democracy, going after, I couldn't even believe she mentioned Ted Cruz too. Senator Ted Cruz, you are not a threat to democracy, and you're a great man and my friend. But she mentioned him like, people like him. So I'm guessing people like me, certainly President Trump. But the real threat to democracy is election interference, is weaponization of our bureaucracy. It's lawfare and all of that involved in the election interference by these radical leftists, these Democrats that have decided that they know what's best for the nation, kind of like Anakin started thinking, remember early on before becoming Darth Vader, that's what they are. Thinking that we know what's best for you, not the populace, not the people, right? What about all of those that have come to America to seek freedom and a better life, a balanced justice system? No, sorry, guys, you are the problem. We being the Nancy Pelosi's and the extremists, we think we know what's best for you. How many of you out there sitting right now in your kitchens, working in your garages, I don't know, whatever you're doing, making empanadas, I have no idea. You'd be doing anything. How many of you out there want Nancy Pelosi making decisions for you? Yes, I heard crickets. We do not want Nancy Pelosi making decisions for us. Neither do we want Bill Clinton or anyone else for that matter. We want to make those decisions. Our politicians have to work for us. But what they're doing is indoctrinating our children and indoctrinating people for decades now, teaching them that populism is the threat to democracy. It's not, folks. Your voice matters. I want to play this clip really quick. This is Winston Marshall at the Oxford Union.
If the Democrats had put half their energy into delivering for the people, Trump wouldn't even have a chance in 2024. He shouldn't have a chance. You've had power for 4 years. From the fabricated Steele dossier to trying to take him off the ballot in both Maine and Colorado, the Democrats are the anti-Democrat party.
They really are. They are the anti-Democrat party. They do not believe in this republic. They do not believe in you. They do not believe that you are the ones capable of making the decisions for yourself or for your community or for your families. They believe it should be up to them. Nancy Pelosi actually believes that she's smarter than you, that she's better than you. Hillary Clinton called you deplorables. That's what they think of you. Don't even mistake anything. Don't think that things have changed. That is what they think of you and me. That is what they believe. And Winston is exactly right. Winston Marshall has it right. And Nancy Pelosi was like sinking in her seat. So if you guys get a chance to see this debate, to see his speech, you need to go online on YouTube and go to the Oxford Union, Winston Marshall, and watch him do this. And the reason I bring this up and the reason I bring up his speech is because my husband and so many others have sacrificed so much for this nation, going back to the founding of this nation. Just go to Arlington Cemetery and look at how many men and women and across this country at veteran cemeteries all across this country and right now, veterans fighting for our rights as Americans. And how many overseas, still overseas, fighting to protect this country from its enemies. And they do so willingly. They do so willingly. My husband won't ever see Annalise's face. Not really. He won't. He's completely blind. He lost all of his sight and almost lost his life on a battlefield in Afghanistan. So he'll never see his youngest child's face. He'll never get to see her in gymnastics. I describe it to him. You know, whatever she does, like, wow, she just for the first time landed her backflip yesterday. She was on the trampoline. She was amazing. And she did it like perfectly. And I can describe it to him, but he'll never actually see it. He used to walk her to the park in Annapolis, you know, along the Chesapeake. And I'd let him, just him and the baby on his back and Kenny, our guide dog. And they would walk all the way over to the Chesapeake. There was a park right there near the Chesapeake Bay. And I remember he'd have to keep her like on a little leash. It was like a little backpack thing so that she wouldn't get away because, of course, he's blind. He wouldn't be able to find her. And Kenny would watch her, but he would never really be able to see the little cute baby in her swing set, you know, giggling and laughing and playing with him. He would never see her face. You know, he talks about her graduation and, you know, he won't see her really graduate. He'll be there with her. Thank God. He didn't get to see his daughter, Erica, walk down the aisle, although he walked her down the aisle, right? Or play baseball with Luke or Justin or Alex or Sophia or any of the kids. But he loves her with all of his heart. And he loves our country with all of his heart. He loves all of his children, and that's why he did what he did. Each one of us has a responsibility to do what we need to do for our children and future generations. And sometimes that comes with great sacrifices. It just does. It just does. And we're watching what's happening to our country right now. And I'm asking you to think about that. To think about how important your voice is. Like sometimes, you know, we can feel down. We can feel like, oh, you know, this is tough. Life sucks. No one's listening to me. This is shit, right? I can't make it another day. No, every single one of us, no matter how hard life seems at the time, it's much harder for somebody else. I have a very special guest on the show today, Tiffany Smiley. Her husband also lost his eyesight. He lost his eyesight in 2005 in Iraq. And she is amazing. I told her she could borrow my nickname, Happy Warrior, because she really is a happy warrior. And that's what we have to be. We have to stop complaining and we have to start fighting back. We have to tell career politicians in Washington that they work for us and we don't work for them. We have to make it clear that our families are worth fighting for. And we have to tell ourselves that. And we have to get up off of our butts and we have to do what's right for our country. And we have to do what's right for our families, no matter how hard that is. Because that is what keeps our country going. That is what is going to keep the light of this beautiful nation alive. And if we don't do it, guess what? We're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. We have to keep these America First policies, which don't mean we ignore everybody in the world. It means that we put ourselves first. We decide what is important for our nation. And we defend our allies. Yes, we do. But we still place America first. And that wraps up in our decision making. Congress just wants to fatten their pockets. They've destroyed America's security. Look at our border. Look at our economy. wasteful spending, corruption. You guys know it. You see it. You feel it when you go to the store and inflation is soaring. You feel it when you read the newspaper, if you still do that, or get online and you see children in your own community that have died of fentanyl, or you hear about it from your kids at school. We need a new class of leaders that will put America first and fight for those who defended our nation, like our veterans. We need leaders who will serve their constituents first and not themselves, folks. I believe one of those leaders is my personal friend and veterans advocate, Tiffany Smiley. She's running for Congress in Washington, and she is exactly who we need to send to DC to drain the swamp and put you and your families first. Put you and your families first. We had a great conversation. I'm so excited to share it with you. But first, I want to talk to you about MyPillow. MyPillow is an American company. Mike Lindell, he cares about you. He cares about your families. And when he first launched MyPillow, it was solely a solution for just one problem. It was for the pillow. And we all love MyPillows. But guess what? He needed to expand, and he did. And with the dedication of his team, they have included hundreds of products and new offers. And to spread the word that they will not be part of any kind of woke cancel culture, they are hosting a $25 extravaganza that is going on right now. Here's their current offer. Use promo code Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R, at mypillow.com to get the sale price and free shipping on orders over $75. You can get 2-pack MyPillow sandals, luxury 6-pack towel sets, brand new 4-pack dish towels, beach towels, small dog beds, other savings using promo code C-A-R-T-E-R. The Giza Dream bed sheets, queen size, only $59.98 with promo code Carter. 60% off my slippers. Mattress toppers as low as $99.99. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-685-7221 today to get in on the $25 extravaganza today, folks. Be sure to use code Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R, to get the sale price and free shipping on your order over $75. Remember, free shipping on your order over $75. Call 1-800-685-7221 or go to mypillow.com. Promo code Carter. Again, mypillow.com, promo code Carter. Very happy to have Tiffany Smiley back on the Sara Carter Show today. I want to tell you a little bit about Tiffany. This is from her bio. I'm going to let her talk about it so that you can hear from her and why she is on the show today, because it's such an exciting announcement. Tiffany, you grew up on a small farm in rural Washington. You graduated college. You got married to your high school sweetheart, Scotty Smiley, who is amazing and who has done so much post 2005. In 2005, just so everybody knows, your world was kind of turned upside down because Scotty was blinded by a suicide car bomber. He was almost killed, actually. Being blind was probably the least of the injuries at that point in time. He almost lost his life while on deployment in Mosul, Iraq. So very similar situation. My husband lost his eyesight, but in Afghanistan in a different set of circumstances, fighting in the battlefield. Because of this experience, you went on to become a veterans advocate, which I think is just incredible. And the work you've done is absolutely incredible for our veterans. You've worked with members from both sides of Congress. During the Trump administration, you had a chance to really work with the administration on different issues to achieve reform at the Veterans Administration. You helped catastrophically injured veterans and as well as their caregivers. And I think a lot of times caregivers and families are forgotten. And right now, this is the big announcement. You are running to represent Washington's 4th congressional district. So congratulations. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so
Thank
excited
you,
for
Sara.
you. So tell me, you have been into this battlefield, this political battlefield. You almost won the Senate seat, which was unheard of. I don't think anybody thought you were going to come as close as you did, right? I mean, It was like, I think I believed you would win. I wanted you to win for the state of Washington, but I think most people were like, oh, no way. Washington State, it's so liberal for the Senate run, but you were right there on the edge of taking that seat. And now I
Yeah.
believe you will take the congressional seat.
Yes, our family has taken on the government. Like you were saying, I've been working and fighting the government for almost 20 years from the outside.
Right.
And so for our family, it's service over self. We will not sit by and watch our country be hijacked by far left radicals who are destroying us from the inside. We will not sit by and watch status quo prevail when we know we can stand up and continue our service and do something good for the future of our children. So, for me, when the DC bureaucracy tried to push me around, I stood up and fought, and I was a voice for Scotty when he didn't have one. We took on the Senate race. We did amazing work. It was connecting with people. It was engaging on the issues that we know are affecting the American people today. And unfortunately, it's just gotten worse. There's no plan. There's no path. There's no hope in sight with the Biden administration. So we need Donald Trump to win this presidency. We desperately need his policies. And so when I was looking at the 4th congressional race, I just knew, our family knew, this is the time. We have to stand up and fight. It's a very Republican district. It's an amazing district. It's where I was born and raised as a small town farm girl. And it's where me and Scotty came back after his military service to raise our 3 boys. And I'm just so worried. Our current sitting Congressman Dan Newhouse, he voted to impeach Donald Trump. And not only that, was supportive of invoking the 25th Amendment. So my question to him when I flew out to Washington, D.C. to talk to him was, how is he going to legislate with Donald Trump?
Right.
And I believe he puts our district at risk. Donald Trump is not going to work with him at all. And we have real issues in this district that need solved that I look forward to working with Donald Trump on. I look forward to working hard all the way up to election to not only help win back the majority, but also get Donald Trump elected. That's what's at the table. That's what's at stake right now. And me and Scotty will not sit by and watch status quo prevail when we can stand up and do something.
And that really is a big issue, because I think there were so many, not a lot, but a significant number of congressional members or establishment that have been divisive inside our Republican Party, to the point where it's okay to have disagreements, but to the point where it's actually damaging the party on both sides. And it's like, wait a minute, you have to stop this. How are you going to be able to work with President Trump if you wanted him impeached, if you wanted him out of office? There's no way that you're going to be able to do that. And by the way, even though I know, and I've seen President Trump forgive, and, let's try to say bygones be bygones, it's not going to happen in many of these cases, because some of these cases were very extreme. And we saw it during his first presidential term, right? In 2000, after 2016, there were people that were working with him, even people within the RNC, people within the White House that weren't working with him. I should say they acted like they were working with him, but they were actually working against him. And I think Trump has become very wise to this, wise to this.
Yes, and there's so much at stake. We saw his policies worked, and I think that's clear now to more people than ever before, that Donald Trump's policies brought a better life for us here in America. We need to secure the border. We need to stop the flow of fentanyl from coming into our communities.
Oh gosh, it's horrible.
We need to get our economy under control. We need to unleash American energy independence immediately. And these are the things that are at stake. My Congressman Newhouse in 2021 voted for amnesty for 3 million illegals. So look where that has led us now. I mean, this is what's at stake, and it's protection of our children. And when I sat down and met with him, I even said, this isn't about me. This isn't even about you. This is about the future of our country. This is about securing a future for our children for generations to come. And Donald Trump needs fighters who will go in and fight hard to get his policies across the line. Not only that, you think about the specific issues within the districts. We have real issues in our district. The Biden administration is sort of secretly behind closed doors trying to breach our dams, which would be extremely problematic to our farmers, to our commerce, to
Talk
our
about why they want to breach those dams. Talk about why the executive branch is looking to breach those dams, because it happens It's not just in your community. We've seen this happen with Democrats across the
Yeah.
board for a long time. Ranchers losing their water for their cattle, farmers losing their ability to adequately have enough water for their crops. Talk about what's happening in your state.
Yeah. So our dams provide not just water, but also the barges to come in and haul the wheat and food, down the river, which actually is environmentally safe and good. But they pull this environmental card. Our dams also provide an incredible amount of hydroelectricity. So they're also providing clean, affordable electricity and power. So they want to wipe them out with no plan to reduce the loss from the hydroelectricity. So what are we doing? Like, this district deserves someone who can go to President Trump's desk and explain the issues and fight for this district and get the results that we need.
I think that's such a great point. One of the big issues too, and you did it with your launch video, and it's an important issue to me and to my husband as well. It's the Veterans Administration and the corruption and incompetence of the VA. Let's talk about that a little bit. Describe why you had focused on that in your video. How hard was that to stomach as a mother, a wife, an American?
It was my first experience with government dysfunction when I showed up at Walter Reed in 2005. Like you said, Sarah, Scotty was clinging to life. He was barely alive. One thing was certain, that he would never see again. And it's the first time I experienced this bureaucracy. And, I'm a nurse. And so I knew how to advocate and I knew how to fight for Scotty, but I was shocked to see how our country treats our veterans who give everything. And it made me sick. As a nurse, I was like, no way, not on my watch. There was a day that was a really hard day with Scotty. And I sat down on the floor at Walter Reed and started sobbing because I saw everyone else. And I thought, who's fighting for them? Who is standing up for them? And I sort of made a promise to myself that someday, I knew I could help Scotty, but someday I'm going to come back and make it right for everyone else. And right now it's not only our veterans, I'm standing up and making it right for our children, for our safety, to secure our border, to decrease the cost of gas and food, to make sure that we have safety and protection in this country. These are basic needs that the American people need, fighters who will stand in the gap and deliver the results for them. So when I experienced that, that's our first experience. I always say that's the first time I got involved in government and politics. Right. Because I saw what was going on and I sort of saw behind the curtain, career politicians who just, grandstand. And our country cannot afford that anymore. And it will not happen on our family's watch.
They're culpable, aren't they? I mean, these career politicians that know what's happening. This is what I was just talking about this to Marty last night. We were talking about the open border and, we were talking to friends who were talking about fentanyl, and it's a big issue in every community, not just on the border communities, but throughout the country. So many young people that have died, have lost their lives. In fact, associated with our family, we know 2 young men who have died, friends of our children that have died from fentanyl poisoning. And I talked to moms who've lost their children, as part of Border 911 and other groups that I'm focused on. And they say, it's like over 300 people a day. And it's even more than that right now. So it's like an airliner crashing every day, or 129,000. We could use those numbers. But our lawmakers know this. And our border is wide open. So who is culpable? When we leave it wide open, it's like they're saying, okay, we're fine with it.
Right. And it's just so, it breaks my heart because you think of the kids that we're losing. It's happening in every community. It's happening in our community here in the 4th Congressional District. Kids are overdosing. There's Narcan in every school now, but having Narcan on hand isn't the answer to this. The answer is shutting down the border so we can protect our kids right here in America. We know the CCP is the one pumping the components of fentanyl down there. I know you've been to the border. I've been to the border, Sara. I saw it with my own eyes. I went on a riverboat and saw the lookout houses. I saw the illegals with bracelets on coming across the river. I mean, every single day. And it's absolutely appalling. This is exactly why we need Donald Trump. And Donald Trump needs a majority of Republicans to fight for these policies and deliver results and protect the American people. It's so sad that our country has gotten to this place that we are at. But I think it also calls those maybe who wouldn't have been in government or wouldn't have gotten involved, right, to stand up and fight for the American ideals for our children in the future.
Are you concerned about the endless flood of illegal immigration at our southern border? How about the $1 trillion being added to the national debt every 100 days? It's no wonder thousands of hardworking, patriotic Americans, including myself, are learning how to protect and diversify their retirement savings with precious metals. That's why I've partnered with the top-rated company Goldco. Listen to this current offer. Get a free 2024 wealth protection kit and learn how to possibly get $10,000 in bonus silver as a listener of this show while supplies last. Protect your family's financial future and freedom. Get started today at Sara, SARA-likesgold.com or call 855-823-GOLD. That's 855-823-GOLD. Get your free gold kit from Goldco and learn how to get $10,000 in bonus silver. Sara, SARA-likesgold.com or 855-823-4653. That's SARA-likesgold.com or call 855-823-GOLD gold. I think one of the big issues is this woke culture, and you have children, I have children in the school systems, but it's not just about being woke. It's this kind of progressive radicalism that has taken over. It's a Marxist ideology. It separates the family from the child. It's asking the child to basically indoctrinating them to trust the government more than their own community and family, which runs against the grain of America. I mean, this is not what we were set up. You grew up in a rural area on a farm. This is what America is, right? These were about families coming to find freedom, to be able to make their own choices about their life, to grow their own crops, to believe in their community, to work together, and to trust each other as families, right? Yep. We're ripping that apart. Yep. What can we do? And I think this is a big issue. I mean, for me, I know it is for you, and for Donald Trump as well, is taking that away, reinvigorating the American spirit for freedom and going into our schools and saying, you know what? Nah, sorry, it's not going to happen anymore. Your unions are done for. We're going to start firing people that are indoctrinating our kids and not teaching them the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I don't know. We got to do something though.
Yes, we have to do something. And you want to influence a country, you start in their schools. So it's clear that, this is a very coordinated sort of idea that they've pushed into our school system. I have kids in the public school system as well. And you're absolutely right. What we can do is at the federal level is make sure that the dollars follow that child. So parents have an option. We can, where they can choose to send their child with that money to a private school or to a charter school, because we need competition. We need to make sure that we are educating our children. And for us, it's like, it's even a bigger picture. It's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How do we preserve that for our children for generations to come? And we really have to revamp our education system. We also need to not forget that a college education isn't for everyone. That your shot at the American dream can be a pathway through trades as well. Right. And we need more kids getting into trade. I have an op-ed coming out soon on that, but these are the ideas of what we are founded on in this country. And that is exactly what we have to fight for with Trump hand in hand in this next administration. I'm excited about where we can go in our country. I'm excited about getting Donald Trump in, getting his policies across the line and starting to turn this around. These aren't really Democrat or Republican issues. These are American issues. This
That's
is
what I
like,
say all the time. You're so right, Tiffany. These are American issues. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about basic American concepts, right? We can debate
yep,
each other on how we're going to get there, but the
yes,
principles are usually the same. But they're
yes,
not anymore. And that's what I think that's what you're saying. That's what anybody who supports President Trump's like America First agenda. This is about putting your children, your communities, and your constitution first. And
yes,
I think part of that begins by having a government that works again for the people. I
yes,
mean, it's their job to work
yeah,
for us. We're supposed to be the boss, you know?
yes.
And
And
they're the civil servants, but they don't see it
yep,
that way anymore.
right. And that's what we have to get back to. We need more people dedicated to the service over self who understand what's at stake in this country. Our family certainly has a lot of skin in the game in this country. And we will not sit back and sit idle. It was awesome. I got to go into my son's school not too long ago and talk to all the junior high students. And I let them know, I'm like, hey, in a few short years, I hope you all vote. I hope you register. Do your parents raise your hand if your parents vote? A lot of them don't even have a concept or an understanding. And that is just, it hurt my heart, but it also motivated me to continue to speak, to continue to share. I think it's important that we go into schools as government officials, as legislators, that we are engaged in our communities, because this is a time for leadership. This isn't just a hall pass. This isn't just grandstanding. This just isn't the cocktail parties and hanging out in politics anymore. This is a fight for our life in this country.
I absolutely agree with you. One of the big issues I think for a lot of moms, especially, and I mean families in general, is like, how do we get more time? How do we invest more time in our children and in our communities? Do you have any suggestions for people, even within your own communities, like what they can do to make things better? Because I agree with you. We have to see the glass as half full. And Laura Ingraham used to call me your happy warrior. I think you're the happy warrior right now, because it's like, you gotta fight, you gotta fight, but you gotta do it with a smile on your face. Why else do it?
Right.
If you can't, if you don't believe you're going to succeed.
Right. This country is so amazing. We live in the greatest country in the world. And it's only as good as we have the courage to stand up and fight for it. And that's exactly what me and Scotty want to model for our children. And I'm talking to more and more moms who maybe, like 10 years ago were not engaged at all. As a military family, you are engaged in politics because you have to be. Your livelihood a lot of times depends on a lot of the decisions. But now I'm seeing more and more suburban women engaged and understanding and getting involved in school board, getting involved in their schools, understanding what's being taught. They're really involved. And I think anyone can. I'm hearing more people say, Tiffany, I want to get involved in politics. I just don't know how. I'm like, go to a fundraiser, go to candidate forums, start to engage and talk, with different candidates. This is how you get involved. And so that's encouraging to me, because it's sad. It's getting so bad that people are waking up and realizing, oh, I better do something, or I better get involved. But that's exactly how we turn this around. This is exactly why our country is so great. I even think back to when I took on the DOD and the Army and fought for Scotty to stay on active duty completely blind. I think, what other country would I have that opportunity to do that in? What other country, as a military spouse and a nurse, can I raise my hand and say, I'm running in the 4th Congressional District? It is time for leadership in this country. There's nowhere else. We live in the greatest country on earth as long as we have the courage and the fortitude to stand up and fight for it.
That's right. And as women, we have to speak out. We have to speak up. And we are living in the greatest nation on earth. We have, these incredible rights. You just said, what other country? And a flashback went to me to Afghanistan. And I was thinking, well, certainly not Afghanistan. My brain just went right there, like where women right now are suffering such unimaginable horrors, being stoned to death and being treated as worse than the animals that are for sale on a calotte, on someone's farm there. I mean, it's just incredible the rights that we have. And you're right, as long as we want to fight for them. Tell us where we can go and where we can get, where we can help you, where we can get more information, what we can do to support Tiffany Smiley's run for the Congressional 4th District.
Yes, join me in this fight. Again, this is for all of us. We have an opportunity in the 4th Congressional District, not just to fight for Washington State, but for this whole country, right from this district. This district loves America. And anyone can join us, chip in, help us out in this fight at TiffanySmileyForCongress.com. So that's TiffanySmileyForCongress.com. You can share with your friends, join on our email list, but we would love to have you a part of the fight and the journey with us. This is each and every one of us. Each and every one of us can do our part. Our family is standing up and fighting for the future of our children in this country. And each and every one of us can chip in and be a part of it to take this country back and really start to deliver results and protection for the American people.
And that's exactly what we're going to do, Tiffany. That's exactly what we need to do. Folks, you can't even imagine. We were just talking before we got on, and then I'm going to let you go, Tiffany. But we were talking about in California how they're allocating money to giving homeless alcoholics shots of tequila. And that's not even from the Onion or the Babylon Bee. That's an actual, they've allocated taxpayer dollars for this. This is insanity. We've got to get back to common sense. Laws and rules and rule of law. And if you're an alcoholic, I'm sorry, but get help, but not shots of tequila with my hard-earned money. Or shots of vodka. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for being a part of the show. I look forward to having you back on, and good luck with your race. I'll be bringing you back off and on to talk about it. So to keep everyone updated.
Thank you, Sara.
Folks, remember, please make sure you're subscribed to the Sara Carter Show on your favorite podcast app. That's why we get all of these great guests like Tiffany Smiley, like Senator Ted Cruz, like Lou Elizondo and UFOs and Nick Pope. And my gosh, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Andy Biggs, Devin Nunes. We bring you the inside scoop on everything. You won't find that at any other podcast. You'll find it here at the Sara Carter Show. But how do we do it? We do it when you download this podcast to your favorite podcast app. That's how we do it. When you download this podcast, the Sara Carter Show, to your favorite podcast app. Why, you ask? Because it gives us a boost in our algorithm. That's what does it. It gives us a boost in our algorithm. If you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, go ahead and give us a follow and a like as well. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. This is where we take the story back. I want you to follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at S Carter DC. God bless you. God bless our great nation. God bless our veterans, and God bless all of those that are running for office that really want to make a difference. And God bless the great state of Texas.